you guys created this term called immersionism, where you're like, oh, we're just going to start immersing our, how do you say the word? Immersing. There we go.
Like in water. Yeah.
Immersing ourselves in these situations and in these different types of cultures around New York. And you went to like where was it? Like a Haitian? You went to like a Haitian house with a bunch of Haitians or something?
No, I mean, years later, I took part in a voodoo ceremony out in like East New York with a bunch of Haitian immigrants.
Okay.
He's talking about the first article I wrote, like under my own name, right? Which was with a Dominican family just up in Washington Heights. I just hung out in these people's house for 3 days and wrote about it.
Oh, okay.
That's how we did things back then.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to do stuff.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah. They were real nice. Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think it's like with podcasting, with like the explosion of podcasting, which I think has reached a critical mass a while ago, probably. It's you really kind of can appreciate the immersionism stuff.
It's
right?
the best way to do anything, right?
Because with podcasting, it's just like we're just talking about things, right? You've been to these places, you've seen stuff, and I by no means am trying to say that that's the only way to do stuff, and you can't talk about things.
It's
Obviously,
a good way to do stuff.
It's a great way to do stuff.
You miss things,
You missed exactly. Like it's easy. It's easy for the telephone game to. When you're doing podcasts and somebody's coming on a podcast and saying, oh, I read an article that somebody wrote based on a book that somebody wrote about an experience that they had when they were in Nazi Germany in the 40s or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus like you specifically were the direct source on the ground, experiencing shit, talking to people that were there. Like that's something you kind of lose with the whole podcasting phenomenon.
And there's a lot of intangibles that really don't, that you have a difficult time properly communicating to someone who's never been to a place that you've been or dealt with the people that you've dealt. Like just the smells in different places are a sense that you don't can communicate a lot of things. Can be, it's the difference between knowledge and experience, really. And Gavin mentioned that we were, like he coined the term immersionism to describe the way that Vice did stories, which was go to the place, hang out with the people, or get the people to write the thing. One of Jesse's crowning moments was did an Iraq issue that was 2007-ish, written 100% or mostly written cover to cover by Iraqis. Right?
Really?
That laid out, and they did the music reviews, I forget if there was a fashion shoot in that or not. But anyway, I thought it was like, I was fucking proud to work on it, and it was a masterpiece of something. It was like, we've been at war with these goddamn people for 4 years, and it's like, this is the first time I'm reading. There was an article at the beginning of it that's just like, here's what Baghdad looks like. Here's the shape. Here's a map of Baghdad. Here are the different neighborhoods. And I was just like, 4 years of war, and we are the first people to print the geography of like the green zone and the different neighborhoods and shit of that nature. It's crazy.
Wow.
Right? But so that was set in opposition to what was called Google journalism back then, which was, the worst case scenario would be Jason Blair. You remember him at the New York Times? He was a reporter who kind of I think he was just having one really. And he stopped going out on assignments and he started just making up like details about it. So he'd be like reporting on a story. I think the one that got him in trouble was he reported on something at a farm in Virginia, right? And he actually called the people and interviewed them on the phone. But when he wrote it he wrote up that he'd been there. He wrote all these details about, the way their barn was situated or what they were wearing or things like that. And some subject called, whoever the person you call for that kind of crap is at the New York Times, the ombudsman or something, and was like, hey, this guy never came to our house. Like we talked to him on the phone and we did some emails or whatever. And then it became a scandal because they looked back through his reporting for the previous, I think 2 or 3 years. And they were like, oh shit, this guy hasn't left his apartment
Jesus
for all of this. And then he wrote a book called Burning Down My Master's House, where he, pretty flagrantly played the race card in excusing his own shitty journalism. Anyway, that was what Vice was trying to set ourselves. He was black, but this was what we were. Immersionism was set against. There was also Stephen Glass. There's a movie about him. He was doing it for the New Republic. No, these are all okay. Generation gap.
Tell me about him.
He just made up 42.
Okay, you're only 4 years older than me.
That's a full a full set of high school classes, though. That's a proper. Well, that's how the generation gaps in America
I had
work.
6 years in high school, but
Oh, when you
Listening
start
to
when
you.
you're in like 7th grade, or
No, I got held back.
oh, you did?
I'm
Oh,
just kidding.
I'm sorry.
6 of the best years of my life.
Hey, there you go. Oh, I see. We're having we're having fun. Okay, sorry. Whoosh. Stephen Glass is just like he was a couple years before Jason Blair. He wrote for the New York Republic. He was like a hotshot young reporter. I think they're based out of DC. I forget. There's a movie about him called Breaking Glass, right? And it turned out he was just completely making shit up. Like he wrote an article about a hackers convention that he got into, and there was like a 16-year-old hacker there who had been hired by somebody he had hacked. He'd hacked like a big computer firm, and so they were hiring him to do their security. And so this kid who was,
After he hacked
a
him?
famous hacker, which like this kind of shit did happen in the world, that, people who grew up hackers became security consultants because they knew.
Yeah, the FBI hired him too.
And that kind of shit. Yeah, no, there's a history of that. And, but he claimed he had gone to this hacker convention. He'd met this kid. This kid was getting now, a 6-figure salary at age 16 from having committed crimes against this place. And so he was being celebrated by all the other hackers, and none of this shit existed. None of this shit was real. And then he would cover his ass by, I think he had his cousin or his brother or something would answer the phone. He'd be like, oh, here are my notes. Here's the number if you need to corroborate any of this with, whoever I'm claiming I got quotes from or whatever, and they would call the number, and it would be his brother being like, yeah, that's what I said. I did that. He made some websites, for like, it was, the hacker kids like security company or whatever. So he's like, you can go check out their website. Like it's totally up. And I think he'd been doing this for years, but the story that got him was the hacker thing. Cause they were like, this kid's hacker website like makes no sense. It looks like shit. It's like, it's like the kind of like HTML programming I would do,
right.
It's like this kid's a computer expert. Anyway, there was a rash of that shit happening in the 2000s. And those are the extreme examples. In general, Google journalism was just, lazy people who didn't leave their desks and would just be like, oh, I'll just get a quote from them, over the phone.
Right.
Which to me, at least, but I think to us, like people at Vice, it was like, why bother? If that sounds like a shitty job.
It doesn't like a shitty
part of the
job.
fun, like the funnest part of writing an article is going out, meeting people and talking to people. Sitting at your desk is the worst part. Like,
at what point did you guys start bringing video cameras?
When
Did you bring video
we
cameras to
started making
Iraq?
video things. Well, there's a what?
Were there any video? Did you guys, when you guys went to Iraq, did you bring any video cameras?
For the Iraqi issue?
Yeah.
We didn't go to Iraq. We communicated with Iraqis, and
okay.
they wrote from Iraq. A couple from America.
I thought I might be mixing that up because I thought Shane did a video in Iraq.
Sarouche did. Sarouche and Eddie went to do. They made a whole doc. It was called Heavy Metal in Baghdad.
Yes, that's what it was.
With a Krasikauda, a band of Iraqis, under Saddam, who came out, went to Turkey. I think half of them live in Canada now. I forget. It was a while ago. Good doc though, fucking amazing. Which was based on an article that Gideon Yago, who again, you're gonna be too young to know who he was. He was the glasses wearing guy on MTV News.
Oh, okay.
Well, the girls liked, right? He wrote the first article that was just about, he's like, holy shit, there's this cool metal band in fucking Saddam's Iraq, and I met them. They have a crazy practice space or whatever. They have to sing pro-Saddam songs. It sucks.
They had to sing pro-Saddam songs?
There was, by law.
Did they ever do any songs in the Palace?
No. Oh,
okay.
no. They were an underground band. Okay. They were punk. They were metal, but
right.
They were an extreme metal band, right?